Today, we are digging into a huge global challenge, water. Or, more specifically, the unbelievable amount of it we use to grow our food. But you know what? There's a tech revolution happening right under our feet, literally in the soil, that could change everything. So to get a sense of just how big this problem is, you only have to look at a place like California. A whopping 80% of all the water people use there, it goes to farming. That's 4 out of every 5 gallons. In a state that's constantly battling drought, that number isn't just a stat. It's a massive problem waiting to happen. And that really brings us to the biggest question of all. We have more people on the planet every year, but we're not getting any more water. So how are we supposed to grow more food? Well, the answer might not be about finding more water, but about getting way smarter about how we use the water we already have.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at agriculture's massive thirst for water. Then we'll tell a tale of 2 fields to see the old versus the new. After that, we'll get into the cool tech that's making farming smart. And finally, we'll see the incredible results you get when you start harvesting data.
Okay, let's dive right into part 1, agriculture's great thirst. This is the core challenge we're up against. You see, for centuries, farmers have used something called furrow irrigation. It's pretty simple. You just dig trenches between your crops and flood them with water. But here's the thing. It's super inefficient. A ton of that water just evaporates into thin air or sinks deep into the ground where the plants can't even reach it. It's just lost.
And that inefficiency? Well, it sets up this really dramatic comparison. So let's get to our tale of 2 fields, where we can see these old and new methods right next to each other.
Okay, so on one side, you've got that traditional method, basically flooding the whole field. It's imprecise. But on the other side, you have modern micro-irrigation. We're talking about drip lines or targeted sprinklers that give water exactly where it's needed, right at the roots of the plant. Seriously, it's the difference between blasting a garden with a fire hose versus watering it carefully with a surgical tool.
And the results? They are absolutely staggering. Check out this data from a study done in Tanzania. With the old-school furrow method, farmers got about 395 kilograms of onions. But with modern sprinklers, that number shot up to over 2,900 kilograms. That is a 7 times increase in yield from the very same field. Incredible!
And it's not just about getting more onions. This chart shows us the economic efficiency, basically how much bang for your buck you're getting from your resources. The old furrow method scores a 0.36. The modern sprinkler, almost 0.8. The big picture here is you're not just growing more stuff, you're doing it more than twice as efficiently.
So, that leads to the obvious question, how? How is this huge leap even possible? Well, this is where farming gets really smart. Let's look at the tech behind it all.
The secret ingredient is something you've probably heard of, the Internet of Things, or IoT. Now, it sounds complicated, but the idea is actually really simple. It's just a network of physical things, in our case, little sensors out in a field, that are all connected to the internet, and they're constantly talking, sharing data about what's happening in the real world, right now.
So what are these little spies in the soil actually looking for? Well, they're basically taking the vital signs of the earth. They're measuring how wet the soil is, the temperature, the pH balance, and even something called electrical conductivity, which gives you clues about the nutrients in there. It's like giving the farmer X-ray vision into the ground. And this is what one of them actually looks like. The best way to think about these is like they're the farm's nerve endings. They're built to be tough, they're waterproof, and they can run for years on a single battery, just sitting there in the dirt, silently reporting back on exactly what the crops need.
The whole process is beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1, the sensors grab that real-time data from the soil. Step 2, they send it wirelessly over a special long-range, low-powered network. Step 3, a central computer program crunches all the numbers. And then, Step 4, the farmer gets a simple message on their phone that says, hey, field B needs water, or nope, field C is good for now. No more guesswork.
Which brings us to the payoff. What happens when you stop guessing and start harvesting data? Let's look at the incredible results for both the farm's bottom line and, of course, for saving water.
Let's talk about the money. This table shows the return on investment. With tomatoes, for every dollar you put in using the old furrow method, you get about $3.20 back. Not bad. But with modern drip irrigation, that number jumps to $6. You nearly double your return just by being smart with your water. The same goes for onions. It's a huge financial win.
Now, the scale of this is almost hard to wrap your head around.
In California alone, just by using smart scheduling, watering only when the data says to, the state could save over 3.4 million acre-feet of water every single year. An acre-foot is enough water to cover a football field a foot deep. We're talking about a mind-boggling amount of water.
And this chart just drives that point home. You can look at all kinds of water-saving ideas, changing crops, different tilling methods, but smart irrigation scheduling, it blows everything else out of the water, so to speak. It has, by far, the biggest potential to make a difference. It is the absolute game changer.
And I think this quote just perfectly captures the whole philosophy here. The goal isn't about using less water to the point where you're hurting your crops. It's about eliminating waste. It's about giving the plants precisely what they need to thrive, and doing it in the most cost-effective way possible.
So, to wrap it all up, the takeaway here is pretty clear. This whole smart farming approach, it dramatically boosts how much food you can grow. It gives farmers a fantastic return on their investment, it saves a massive amount of water, and at the end of the day, it just creates farms that are more sustainable and ready for the challenges of the future.
Which really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As we look ahead, could our ability to feed everyone on this planet depend less on finding new resources and more on farms that have gotten just as good at harvesting data as they are at harvesting crops?